So hopefully
Sure.
that
Tests and medicines.
and then a vaccine ultimately.
I'll tell you what else they have in China. And again, I've talked about this. I think it's real. And I've just tiptoed. I can only imagine if you actually had it. But there's some sick shaming going on. You get blamed in this cycle more than when other things go wrong. And so it keeps you from doing things that might help. Like I saw in China, they have an app that, because everyone has a cell phone, you plug into, and you literally have a map of who's infected and who's clean.
Huh?
So if you're walking along, okay, well, this guy's coming, he's got it. You just walk to the side a little bit. And it seems to make sense.
When I go on my walks in the neighborhood, and I hopefully have always done this, but if you have a stroller on the sidewalk and I'm going the other way, I give you the right of way. If you have,
I usually push the stroller out of the way. This isn't for strollers, lady.
Yeah,
I say.
If you have two people, I give you the right of way, or if you're walking your dog, I give you the right of way.
Oh.
So that's
you don't ever give me the right of way here. It must
how
be
I'm acting. Yeah.
kind of weird. You make up for it all. I guess.
All right, let's dive into this deal real quick here. We've got the drill bracket challenge.
Oh.
I'm excited about it.
Are we keeping a filled-in bracket online that people can check out?
Yeah, Beef posted it Friday,
good.
I believe.
Right.
Friday or Saturday, right, Beef?
Something like that.
Yeah, I saw it anyway. It's the drill bit bracket challenge. If you need to sell your property fast, residential, commercial, call the Edge Group, 904-474-5851. This is a tough one for Sweet Allie. Sweet Allie is of the hit Poker Room radio program, but comes on our show a couple times a week and is always a lot of fun to talk to. We've chronicled her rather strange, bizarre vacations through the years and her spokesperson job with the Poker Room and seeing her on television and such. But she's also going up against a powerhouse, a one-day-a-year gig where we help kids, the J-Fun Radiothon, which, again, is a staple of this program because we win it.
I'm like in thrashing,
Yeah.
a thrashing usually.
And that means all of you out there
are winners.
They're
a part of it, yeah.
You help us win it,
Yeah.
and we appreciate that. So, anyway, that's what's going on. It's a 6 against 11, and just getting started in the J-Fun Radiothon as a 3-1 lead, basically 75% to 25%. If you want to vote and take part, we got some good matchups today. We continue to work our way through the first round. Coming up next, our guy Murph, who's legendary in a 3 seed with his call-ins against Jordan the Arm. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, Ron Burgundy Love is what we're calling it, against me and the Rompum. So,
Do you want to win the Rompum?
do I want to
Do
win?
you feel like a Rompum? Like, is there
Jeff,
certain things you
anytime
wanna
my
win?
name's attached, I want to win. No, not necessarily. I would take a
competitive
pass
guy.
for Burgundy. Burgundy is a staple of the program and has been for years. So,
This is Ron Burgundy.
yes, that guy. So, anyway, we got a lot going on with that today. And like I said, if you want to vote, you can vote at Dan Hicken. We are moving closer and closer to the draft tomorrow, or not tomorrow. We have 31 days in March, I believe. Is that correct?
30 days has September, April, June, and November. There'll be a 31 tomorrow.
Yeah, there'll be a 31. But the day after that will be April 1st, and away we go. The countdown to the draft is on, so that will fill a lot of what we do over the next few weeks as we start to zero in. And look, around here we used to call it draft talk, and we do it in September, and we've done it far too often the last couple of years, and really the last, 20 years. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll continue on with a draft talk and looking at who the Jaguars might select and who might be the best fit. And really, I will say this, unless they shock the world at number 9, whomever they call, I think most fans will be like, oh, okay, I can see the reason for that.
Why aren't they more interested in, or aren't we hearing? Maybe they are. Maybe we'll have a signing today. But, Bashad Breeland is out there. Logan Ryan is out there. I mean, there's some cornerbacks. The Jacks need some corners, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost Denard, who is
Where'd he go?
Well, he's just out there in the ether sphere right now.
Yeah.
And again, I've heard people blame the Jags. I mean, maybe the Jags found out something after the fact and it was their volition.
Yeah, nobody knows. No
one knows why.
on
Sometimes when they fall apart, it's the Jags being
I
smart.
kind of
finding
go
out
back
something.
to, I don't know. I don't think the teams would do it though. But maybe they did. Maybe the Ravens did it with the Brockers. Like you can't pass a physical.
Well, that's what they said. That's what they said. I mean, now maybe those teams just wanted to hold things up for a while, and the players are like, no, I got to get my money now. So maybe that happens.
Yeah.
But like Logan Ryan is going to be 29. You could probably
1 year deal.
get a 1 year deal and draft. It certainly looks like they're going to draft a Fulton or a Henderson or whoever they can get at 20, unless somehow that Okuda kid falls to 9, which every once in a while a mock draft will suggest that, but I don't think that's happening. But if I'm the Jags right now, Breeland was a starter for the Chiefs. He's another 28, 29. He just had a $2 million contract last year. He's probably not going to cost you, 1,000 yards. So I don't know. I'd like to see another veteran corner who you can really count on starting.
Speaking of the draft, poor Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod, who came out and told the Chargers media, the Orange County Register, if I'm the guy calling the shots, we're going to turn a lot of heads. Yeah, Tyrod, you've seen this, you've witnessed this dance before. I wouldn't go with that route. I mean, I know you want it, and I'm glad, and I'd love for you to get the opportunity. I think we once had a personal bet, a dime bet on Baker Mayfield and Tyrod Taylor, and I would make the same bet again, and that's not even and that's even before the draft. The Chargers are going to draft a guy, and when they draft the guy with the 6th pick, he will be the starting guy by the end of September at the latest. That's how it'll work. Now, this is a Chargers team that has a lot of talent.
Just like Tyrod did. You're right about one thing. It's been like 3 in a row. They got rid of him because they were going to draft Allen, and then he went to Cleveland where they drafted Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Mayfield came in the same draft as Allen, no? Oh, no. Different one, a year later. So, 2 years in a row that happened.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor was, Josh Allen. That's what happens. That's how it works, especially when you take him that high, no matter what anybody says.
He didn't actually play for him. He left that same offseason that they drafted Allen. That's how it worked. Yeah.
Right.
But then he went to a team who suddenly drafted Baker Mayfield number 1.
Yes.
Because remember, during the Mayfield draft, it was like late in the process where it was like, oh, Mayfield's going number 1.
Right.
Like he was going to be like 10 to 20 somewhere.
Sure. But my point is, if your team is drafting at 6 and there's a quarterback need, it's because they don't have the confidence in you. Hence, they're going to take a quarterback, and hence they're going to work that quarterback in really quickly, like in September. When you're a first-round pick and you're in the upper half of the draft, you are going to get the job in this day and age. Very, very rarely does one sit. Now, you could argue, oh, hey, Dan, wait a minute. Now the Chargers got a lot of talent. Let's play the veteran and see what. Yeah, I heard that song and dance before. I've heard it a million times. I'm just telling you how it works. And maybe they won't sign Cam, and maybe they won't sign Jameis, and that would be great for him. But listen, he's 30 years old. He's not bad. He's just not. He's played enough that they know he's not the guy, I guess. And I'm not even looking at his stats. I'm just trying to. I could just see it, with Tyrod Taylor. That's just the way it works in the NFL. So the bigger question to me is, the Winstons and the Newtons and why they're still out there and how long they'll be out there and what they eventually go out to do. Because it's going to be very interesting how the quarterback, and we talked about the glut of quarterbacks, and Brady left and Rivers went to Indy, and then everything else has sort of fallen into place. And now the draft will put the final pieces in, as the Dolphins will most likely get Tua, and the Chargers will make their pick on whichever one they want.
It's such a confounding sport, and
the Bengals will get Burrow.
Right. Football is the most confusing of all the sports.
Yeah.
Because what do they tell us is what is the most important position in football?
Quarterback.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Love him or hate him. Criticize his decision-making. Jameis Winston's better than probably 10, 12, 15 starters in the NFL right now.
Oh, no doubt.
And yet he won't get the job.
I think Pete Prisco said
better than Minshew.
That he would take him over Minshew.
Sure,
and I don't necessarily disagree at this point.
Maybe in 3 years I wouldn't, but
Now, I will say this, though. One of the things we were discussing on TV last night was, and the time is going to come here, would you try to trade up to get a Tua if you believed in him, or even Joe Burrow for that matter? Would that be something? Well, it's something that you owe the franchise to discuss for sure. You can't just ignore it, leave it as an elephant in the room there over in the corner. You have to discuss it. But the point would be, well, why not find out about Minshew this year, and then next year if you want to do that?
Well, not to mention, too,
because there'll be some good ones coming out next year with Fields and Lawrence. Although, if you have the first pick in the draft next year and you need a quarterback, which the odds are you would, you're not trading that Trevor Lawrence away. You're just not.
Well, I don't think the Bengals would trade Burrow either to that point.
You don't think so?
No. Well, here's another thing, too. It goes hand in hand with your thing about
By the way,
Minshew.
to get the first-round pick, just so you know, I'm talking if you're the Jags, you would probably have to trade 9, 20, 40, or maybe not 42, but 73, and next year's first.
Correct.
Yeah.
And my point would be this, and it goes hand in hand with what you said about Minshew. After 1 year, you don't know yet. That, in addition to, you got a lot of holes. You've gotten rid of good players to build your draft stock. Now you're going to give it all away for a player who may not play. In other words, you don't have 9. Now, I'd rather have 9, 20, 73 in next year's first than Joe Burrow, personally.
Yeah.
And that's even if they don't have Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I'd rather play Kessler for a year than give up all that.
I'd like to do a shout-out to all the Googans on Twitter who alerted me and about the Major League Baseball Network this weekend. I had a fun time for me.
They did something with 86, I think.
I had Mets Astros, and so I locked in with the youngster to watch Game 6. It was a must game for the Mets, by the way. We did not want to take on Mike Scott in Game 7, even though everybody knew at the time he was scuffing the baseballs. Nobody could prove it.
Yeah, no one cared.
He was unhittable.
You're not cheating. You ain't trying.
And so, boy, you want to talk about giving up on a game. Bob Knepper gave up 1 hit through 7 innings. It's 3-0 Astros, and we go to the 9th, down 3-0. I remember it well.
Was that the Dykstra?
Dykstra hit a triple to lead off the 9th.
Didn't he hit a home run in one of those off of like Scott or the closer? Who was that closer that the
he hit,
Astros had that was so good?
In New York, he hit home runs off of Charlie Kerfeld.
That's not what I'm thinking of. Kerfeld, a former great Brave.
Was he? Big old Chuck.
Yeah.
But
Came
anyway,
around in the early 90s when we were good.
Dykstra, this is pre-Juice, reached out in the 9th inning on an outside pitch and flicked it. And I'm like, fly out to center. And it just kept going and going and going and went over the center fielder's head, and he had a triple, and that opened the floodgates. The Mets scored 3, and then they would score 1 in like the 12th to go up 4-3, and that's when Hatcher hit a home run to tie it 4-4, and then the Mets finally got 3 in the top of like the 15th or 16th. Astros came back with 2, and the Mets hung on and
just
won.
Imagine if I had to watch, and
Oh.
Beef, it's the same for you, but imagine if I had to watch, some.
It's kind of like your Cubs Indians Game 7.
What if I had to watch the exciting 1986 Braves schedule where we lost like 107? That would have been fantastic.
Yeah,
Good time.
86 was it.
Albert Hall leads off. There's a triple to right.
What happened was, I'm watching it and my eyes are getting heavy because now it's 11:30, 11:45. I doze off and I wake back up. It's 12:15. I'm still watching. We're still in. I forgot how long that game must have been. I bet that game was 6 hours.
I find myself watching.
And the only other problem was Keith Jackson did the game. And I love Keith Jackson, but Keith Jackson shouldn't be doing baseball. He was fine.
He was Monday Night Baseball for years.
Yeah, I don't care. Keith Jackson is college football through and through.
Well, I hear that, but I don't necessarily. I remember him very well on the Monday Night Baseball, so that seems more natural to me.
Keith Jackson and Tim McCarver.
I tell you what, I found myself watching last night.
Braves went 72 and 89 that year.
That's actually a good year for
2
us.
games better than my Cubs, who were 70 and 90.
You were also bad then.
Good times.
The worst year was like 90. We literally lost like 105, and then the next year we got good and had been good since for the most part. I found myself watching last night, Dan, this extravaganza, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of out there. It's a side spectacle, pseudo sport, but it was called WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania.
32.
From WrestleMania 32. So you know the year. You were probably there too. And
I saw it and I was curious about it, and I saw a couple. I don't know it. So.
The only thing that I will say about watching WrestleMania 32, and again, I'm obviously I know all about wrestling, but I don't watch at all. I watched when I was a kid. It was fun. What these guys are doing now where they're like leaping from, it's insane. How is there not like a paralysis or a death every wrestling? I'm watching this thing last night. These boys are jumping off like a 15-foot ladder.
Oh, yeah.
And landing on each other. They're jumping out of the ring onto a guy laid across the ladder, literally from like 20 feet in the air.
Don't miss.
I don't understand.
Well, do they land in the ring?
No, not all the time. I look at it and think to myself, my God, do they put like a flubber around these guys so that when they, hit, they don't really feel anything?
Yeah, it's crazy.
These are really avant-garde, new school wrestling thoughts.
I actually, the one other odd thing that I watched yesterday, and I do have a couple Dan Hicken movie reviews for you later, obviously on the weekend. But
I had a couple too.
I watched Ronda Rousey beat this girl, and it was a heck of a fight. And the thing that struck me was they were both like intertwined like pretzels, and the intricacy with which she moved the foot to get to this point while this girl's trying to obviously do something to her, and then took her arm and ultimately armbarred her to win was interesting to me. It was quite a battle.
I think I'd rather get knocked out than armbarred.
Armbarred wouldn't be good.
I mean, armbarred, you just know you're right on the verge of something snapping, crackling, and
about to
popping. All right, we'll come back. We'll hit some of the sports headlines that are there, and there are some out there. Booger McFarland, some interesting comments about Dan Mullen. We can kick that around just a little bit as well. But desperate times, Dan, people turn to their security blanket, their comfort, and in this case, to the relationship experts, which would be you or I, who, after a starter trial edition of the entire process, we have now established ourselves as, quote, good husbands and good men. So here is the from the text line. I need you to think about this, ruminate on this over the course of the break, and I'm going to need you to have some answers when we come back. From the text line, I need some advice from you guys.
Okay.
That's our specialty. Tomorrow's my wedding anniversary, 13 years. The kids are home, restaurants are shut down. We are losing our mind. Any thoughts on what I can do to celebrate the anniversary? Normally, I can easily battle through the big celebration days and deliver a memorable moment. When I have a huge number of options, I'm at a loss for this one.
I'd like to know age of the kids.
Okay, age of the kids.
If you can get that to me
13-year anniversary, I'm guessing 10 and under.
Okay.
So we will come up with some answers for you, you hardy text liner, and much more when we roll on. It's the Monday Morning Quarterback, DivorceMenOnly.com.
Now, Downtime with Dan on 1010XL. Brought to you by Ameris Bank. At Ameris Bank, you don't have to pay for our attention. Our advice doesn't come with a price tag. See what we're all about at AmerisBank.com.
Well, it's certainly not business as usual in any sport, and it's not business as usual in the NFL. But I did take umbrage to what Kirk Herbstreit said recently, where he talked about the fact that he didn't think there'd be football in the fall, and how could there be if there's not a vaccine? And, well, I think there are ways that there could be football in the fall, and I hope and pray that there is. Obviously, I hope and pray for the safety of everybody first and foremost. But the one thing we need in our country right now is hope, man, and I love when we are given hope. I don't like the negativity of somebody saying, we'll see you next year and things along those lines. So, Mr. Herbstreit, for now, let's let the experts talk.
At Ameris Bank, you don't have to pay for our attention. Our advice doesn't come with a price tag. Whether your needs are large or